So who cares? Why not do your own thing and let them say what they want?
What's up, guys? Today I wanted to do maybe a longer form, it depends on how it goes, a video. It's very relaxed, talking about and exploring kind of like an introspective monologue with myself, my attachment style, which is anxious attachment. I talked about this before, and I know a lot of you guys are really sick of the relationship style stuff, but I saw this video by Hamza something recently about his anxious attachment style, and the way that he did it, he just kind of told a story in the beginning. I kind of wanted to just like lay back like I'm in this like therapy chair, but like way more comfortable because it's the condo couch, which is the most comfortable thing ever. Oh my God, with all these pillows, it's so amazing. And just kind of go through stuff with you. Maybe when I do these introspective videos, I'll be on the couch like this in a more comfortable position. Maybe that will make you guys more comfortable and you'll be like, oh, it's one of those videos, and you can click off of it or click it faster depending on whether or not you like it. So let's just go ahead and get into it. By the way, I'll link that guy's video in the description because he's probably going to do a better job than I will, or probably has done a better job than I will in this video if you're actually looking for some help or guidance with this kind of thing. I want to explore mine because I've always been a little bit curious why I have anxious attachment. Everyone always says that your attachment style is formed from your caregivers when you're younger, but other people kind of just say childhood. And I'm wondering if when I started dating, when I had this string of like really bad situations with bad relationships, that maybe that kind of solidified it for me. Because I can't think of a single time where my parents were, as they would say, flip-floppy, or the love that I got from them was contingent on something. So it felt like it was like a transactional relationship. I never felt like that. But I do recall some of my most vivid imprinted memories from my childhood, which could be like sort of fabricated, could be not, being very attachment style oriented, like anxious attachment style oriented. For instance, I think I've told you guys all of these, but let's go through them again, some of the ones that are in my head. I remember when I was a toddler, my parents and I were living in this like really small apartment building. There were only like 11 apartments or something in the whole thing, and it was just one building. There was an upstairs and a downstairs. We were living upstairs. I remember that my mom used to go to work in the morning and she would kiss me like good night, or kiss me good morning, I guess, before she leaves every single morning. And one morning, I roused from my sleep as a toddler and realized that she had already gone and she hadn't kissed me goodbye. So I literally freaked out. I remember panicking, and I ran out onto the balcony and was like just scared and freaked out. And then I remember it cut to like later when I actually got to talk to my mom again. I remember being like, well, you didn't say goodbye to me. You didn't say goodbye. And she's like, I did. You just didn't wake up. Because I would always wake up. I was like a light sleeper and still am. And that just screams anxious attachment style. But how could I have formed an anxious attachment style when I was already a toddler at that point? Like, I had to have been a baby, and I had to have like had, you know, parents that didn't do the things that I think that they did. You know, I would have to have parents that like sometimes came when I cried and sometimes didn't, and made me very insecure about whether or not I had an attachment with them. You know, that's kind of the idea behind anxious attachment. It's like you always are afraid that people are going to abandon you, or you just need a lot of reassurance. That's probably the trait that I identify with the most as an anxiously attached person, is the needing a lot of validation and needing a lot of reinforcement that I am like, that we're still good, that there's nothing wrong. I see like micro movements in their face and I'm like, whoa, are you mad at me? Or like any little thing changes, I'm like, whoa, are you mad at me? But this doesn't extend to friends or family. It just extends to my love interest partner. And there's also a few other traits that I don't have at all, like not feeling like I'm good enough to have someone love me. I definitely feel like I'm probably a little too feeling good for that. Like I can easily be like, okay, this person's actually mistreating me, I'm gonna leave. Like that's easy for me. I'm not insecure at all about my worth. I don't have like no sense of self. They say anxiously attached people often have like no sense of self. So they kind of just attach their identity to the person that they're dating. I, in some ways, like to do that as a personality trait. Like I like to be like, oh, babe, you like football? Let me try to learn football. But I still have the things that I like and dislike and still openly express that, and very adamantly so. So there are a few things I don't have. I'm not insecure like that. But I do often like feel that like I know my worth, but maybe this person doesn't know my worth. And if this person doesn't know my worth and they decide to leave me, it's not going to be something that goes against me as a person, but I really don't want to lose this person. Like that's how I feel. I think at least they say that a lot of other anxiously attached people are like, oh my God, I'm not worthy of them, so I have to become worthy of them somehow. Like, oh my God, if they leave, I'll lose who I am as a person, my sense of identity, and like all this stuff. Like, that's not me. But I do understand that some people, we're all within our own experiences. So someone can definitely see me as not as good as I see me, or not as good as the next person sees me. So some people can say I'm a catch, and other people can say like, I would never date this bitch. I've seen both of those comments many times in my comment section. So I'm always like, I don't know what your reality is, just please don't leave me. I'm not like, oh my God, if you leave, I have no sense of self. So there are some things that I just don't identify with, but I strongly need like the daily affection, like touch and quality time. And I want to be with the person that I'm with like 24/7. And I, have to force myself to do space type stuff. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Like right now I'm working at the condo and Hunter's working at home, and I'm thinking like, damn, I could be at home, like downstairs, just like in the company of Hunter 100 feet away, and that always makes me feel kind of like not anxious, but it makes me feel like, aw. And then what does make me feel anxious is like sometimes he'll get home before me and I am like rushing home and I'm stuck in traffic, and I get a little anxious about that. It's crazy. Like I have separation anxiety for sure. Not as bad as I've seen some people have it. Like I watched a video on how to correct it, and they were like, just try to be in a separate room doing different things, but in the same house for an hour and see if that's okay. Like, what the fuck? I can do like an afternoon or like even a night out. A night out can be kind of hard. When it gets dark, I get pretty lonely and pretty like anxious. But that's also on top of the fact that like me and Hunter have a little bit of shit to work through with like his communication skills when he's out. Because like when he does go out and communicates with me, and he has a time when he's like when I should expect him home around-ish, I'm perfectly fine. Hi, okay, real quick. It's me from a day later than the me that you're watching right now. I have an instance of Hunter actually putting my anxious attachment theory at ease, and it's from today, so I thought I would show it and give you context. So I asked Hunter, I said, when you go to trial, so when he goes to trial, it's like a month of prep, 2 weeks to a month of prep that's really stressful, like long hours and all this shit. And then during the trial, he'll sometimes go until like 12 at night, like finishing his closing argument, blah, blah, blah. He'll be like really fucking busy. And I take on a lot of his stress as well. And I help him with a lot of stuff. Like I do stuff I wouldn't normally do. I put my career and all my shit like on the side to help him. And I love doing that. I have nothing against it. But I asked him, when you are done with the trial and you want to go out for that like post-trial drinks or whatever, please invite me, because I will feel left out having taken on all this extra stress and like being like your sidekick and going through it with you. And then you just like are like, oh, well, the boys want to go out, like I would feel like left out, and I wouldn't have that outlet of like, relieving stress or whatever. So I'm like, invite me during that time only, because I feel like we're going through it together. He's like, absolutely. Today, he had been prepping for a trial for like 2 weeks, but he's second chair on it, so it's not as much work. But we have both been pretty stressed about like everything. And, my parents are coming into town, and this was like thrust upon him. So that stressed me out as well, because we were supposed to go somewhere with my parents. But today, the trial, the case settled, and he texted me this. He literally asked me if I want to drive 25 to 30 minutes to join his colleagues and him for like a 2-drink thing that doesn't really matter that much, because he knows that it means that much to me to be invited. And he trusts me that I'm not going to be super crazy and be like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going just for the 2 drinks. So what I said back was how I feel. It's like, I want to actively give you the space to do that. I don't want to be the crazy girl that's like, I gotta fucking drive down all the way across the world to get to this fucking thing where I'm only gonna have like, if you do what you say you're gonna do, like 1 or 2 drinks, I'm only gonna have a few minutes there, but I'm so worried that you're gonna stay out all night, or that I'm not gonna be invited somewhere, that I have to go. I want to give him that space, and he gives me that, like, he tells me what he's doing, where, and it just makes me feel like I'm involved in the conversation and involved in the planning, even if it's not really about me. And I actively have to be like, because if he was like, could you please come? It means a lot to me. I would drive 2 hours to get to some place for like 40 minutes if it really meant something to him. But like, I know that he's just going like with fucking colleagues, and I don't need to go, so I don't go. And it's just like a mutual respect thing, and I feel so much better. But even so, like, it's been 2 hours. He's on his way home, but it had been 2 hours. I'm like, I started getting that anxious shit where it's like, I've had a bad day too, so it's like exacerbated, but I know it within myself that I start getting a little anxious, and I'm like, oh, it's been 2 hours, like, isn't that like long enough to have like 2 drinks? Is he gonna get like blackout and, you know, am like, you know, not gonna hear from him, like blah, blah, you know? And I have these like irrational fears, and he's just so good. I've just like started to tell myself he'll say he's on his way soon. And if he doesn't, we already had a plan. I would go down there. It's not a big deal. Like, if he's gonna have like a full ass night, then I'll come join middle through the night when I'm done with my work. Like, but see, this is how crazy like anxious attachment people are, and like what I have to deal with internally. And it makes no sense because I had planned before I knew that it was gonna take him 2.5 hours or whatever to do these drinks. I had planned to film this after I filmed some customs on OnlyFans, to film how happy I am with him. And even with that in my mind, like how amazing he is, how it almost brings me to tears that he like helps me with this kind of like anxious attachment and like clinginess, and he like communicates well, even though like his personality is not like that. He'd be like coming home like 4 hours from now and be like, oh, I went to drinks, how was your night? You know, like that's his natural state. Like, he would never tell his girlfriend anything, you know, but he does it for me because he knows I need that, you know? So like, even though I was gonna be like, he's so amazing and gush about this, I literally started getting anxious because it had been 2 hours. Like, that's how fucking stupid it is. And I'm aware it's stupid during it, but I can feel like all these thoughts like, oh my God, like what if all of his like degen friends show up and then like, you know, fucking, I can never get a hold of him. And it's just like, it's so stupid. And it's funny because it trumps the trust. It trumps the logic. It trumps everything. It's like, this, like, I don't know what it was. We still don't know what it was. If you've watched this far in the video, you know that I still don't know what it was that triggered this in me, but it's fucking weird. I don't know. So yeah, back to the video. I was gonna make this not a long segue, but what is this, like a 5-minute segue? Segue? Whatever. But I just don't like the, like, when will I see him? Or like, oh my God, if it goes all the way overnight, like to the morning, oh my God, I get so anxious and stuff. Like, I need that attachment. I need to fall asleep with the person, wake up with the person. I don't like traveling separately. And I don't like having like big life happenings without the other person. Like, if I go somewhere and experience something that's really great and like Hunter's not there, I'm like, God, I wish Hunter was there to experience this with me. And it's like kind of a like anxious, horrible feeling that it's like I can never get that moment back. And it's even stronger when he's experiencing something and he's not with me and I'm not there to experience it. And sometimes I'll even think about his past. Like, you know how a lot of girls will think about a guy's past and be like, who did you fuck? What did you do? And get super jealous. I just get jealous that of all the people that were in his life to experience that moment with him. It's not like I'm like, oh my God, he's had sex with other girls and he's loved other people. It's always just like, damn, like, cool, good for them. Like, it's really, I don't know. Like, I don't understand couples, and I will never be in a couple. As much as I would want to change some things about my anxious attachment, I will never want to be in a couple where the person I'm dating is not my best friend and wants to share most big experiences with me and spend every day with me and like travel. If they travel a lot without me, I can't do that. I just can't do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be that kind of couple. And I know that there are a lot of people who have different things that they want out of a relationship. But for me, I want like the depth and the closeness and the sharing everything together and like, you know, basically becoming one, but still staying separate in a way. Like, I like my separateness. I'm fine being alone. I'm more productive work-wise when I'm alone, especially since if I was filming something like this, like Hunter's very sound sensitive while he's working. I would not be able to film this at the house right now. So like, I don't mind being alone at all. And like, if Hunter were to just not exist, if I were to be single or something, I would be absolutely fine being alone. And I have I have so many fucking hobbies. Like, I have so many hobbies now that like, now that I have a boyfriend and actually spend time with my boyfriend, unlike I did when I was with Jay, I didn't spend nearly enough time with Jay. Like, I don't have time for most of my hobbies. So I can definitely pick up like a million hobbies. I could stream again. I could fucking, you know, play bass more and all that shit. But that's just what I want. And often my flare-ups with actual, like, let's call it toxic anxious attachment. Toxic just meaning like stuff that I would change and kind of, you know, it's more negative in my life. The flare-ups of that are just like when we're apart, I can kind of freak out a little bit. And I can get really anxious, like really fucking anxious if like something just seems off at all, or like I feel like I don't know what he's doing at all, or it's been like a long period of time, like more than 12 hours since we've been together, that's when I get super anxious. But, you know, him understanding that and taking care of me the way that he does, oh my God, by the way, like I cannot fucking, this man is not like this at all. He's not like me at all. And the fact that he's like taking the time to understand me and like meet me halfway, and like, oh, it just like neutralizes the anxiety so much. So I could not gush more about Hunter. He's like, it's so crazy because like he was not amazing when I first met him. You know, like he's just an amazing dude. But like as a partner, there was a hurdle, and it was just like he put in the effort and I put in the effort, and now we're so good. But anyway, I'm not going to gush about that. So going back, that was my first, like what, 20 minutes ago? 10 minutes ago? That was my first experience with anything that I can remember that was like an anxiously attached style happening, which was me being anxious that my mom didn't like say goodbye to me when she went to work. Then I had this weird, that I only remember like bits and pieces of it, but I had this weird era of my life, this weird Terra arc in my story where in elementary school, I was like very anxiously attached to my dad. It was so weird. So I moved in elementary school, and I wanted to keep going to the same elementary school and not switch schools. And my parents were like, yeah, that's probably good to keep the same friends or whatever. And then both elementary schools were going to go to the same middle school anyway. So I just, you know, wanted to go to the other one and only had a couple years left or something. Some of these things could be wrong. I was very young, but like that was how I understood it. And my dad would drive me to school every single morning because I couldn't take a bus. There was no bus that could take me there. And previously I had walked to school with my dad, I think. Yeah, because it was close. Or he would drive me or something. I don't know. My dad would hang out because, you know, in elementary school, the kids kind of stand outside by the annex or whatever building they're going to go into. At least mine did. And we would just like stand outside for like 30 minutes. Like it would just be kids running around outside of the classroom. And my dad would come and just like stand with me and like bullshit with the other kids. Sometimes there were other parents there, but very, very rarely. And I just really enjoyed having my dad with me all the time. So like there was a point where I actually started getting really, really bad stomach aches every single day that I went to school when my dad started to not stay as long at school with me. And I would just come home a lot and be like, I have a stomach ache, but there would be no symptoms. Like I didn't have a fever. I wasn't throwing up or anything. And my parents started to be like, okay, she's crying wolf. She just doesn't like to go to school. So they started kind of not believing me, and they weren't like mean about it, but they would like make me go to school kind of. And I was like, dude, my stomach fucking hurts so bad. And I think that I went to the doctor. I'm not like, I feel like this is one of those things that's so crazy. I could be manufacturing this memory, but I literally remember them diagnosing me with like an ulcer from stress or something. And my parents were then like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. And I think the root of my issue was that the separation anxiety with my dad. Like I was very, very very, very like attached and clingy with my dad. And it was just fucking weird. And then that stopped. Like, I don't know, like it just passed, I guess. I just can't think of anything before then that could have sparked an anxious attachment style, because my mom's very loving. My dad's, you know, very loving, but more like a best friend kind of way. They're both great parents, not perfect by any means, but no parent is. You know, they weren't like ready for a kid. I was an accident. And they did a fucking great job for what they were given. And I just can't think of anything that would be like hot and cold. Now, I do know the demeanor of my mother. She's very anxious herself, just like way more anxious than me as a person, like in general, just like constantly anxious. So maybe they say that it's like you can see in your mother's face, like if your dad, like the guy in the video, the Hamza guy that's linked down in the description, he said something like you can see in your mother's face that if your dad beats her, that she's just anxious about the next time that he's going to beat her. And like, that makes you as a child anxious. And if it's something that stupid, first of all, my dad did not beat my mom, but I mean like my mom just being like an anxious person, like a stressed out person. If I saw that in her face as a baby and I'm like, I now need to be anxiously attached for the rest of my life, like, fuck me, right? I really hope that's not the case, because no one should be a parent then, because there's no way to avoid shit like that. And like, I've had to really work hard to get over my anxious attachment shit. I really feel like the first situation where it was like, you're hot, then you're cold, you're yes, you're no, like that kind of shit. that kind of love was with my boyfriend, Jared, who was like when I was 12 to 15 or something like that. 12 to 14. 2 years of my life. I could never tell if he was cheating on me, but he always said he wasn't, but there was always other girls around. He would disappear because he would get picked up by the cops, and he would actually go to jail for like a month or a couple days, and I wouldn't see him, and he didn't go to the same school as me. He was just in and out of juvie a lot. He got his 3 strikes and went away forever, and that's when I broke up with him for good. But it was 2 years of that. It was 2 years of us breaking up, me being insecure if he's cheating on me being insecure if he's even gonna like show up. And I just like was always begging him, like, please be different this time. Please, you can stay out of jail. There's no reason. Let's just be together. And that was like horrible. I can totally, if it can actually develop as a 12-year-old, then I totally know where I got my anxious attachment from, because I just burned into my memory. One of the worst days of my fucking life was like, he was on his 3rd strike. So if he had gone again, that would be his 3rd strike to juvie. And he would be in there. It's not the same as like 3 strikes felony is a 3. Yeah, I think it is. I think in Washington, it's like 3 strikes. It's a felony and you get charged as an adult. I think that's what happened. So he was driving to come see me. We were going to spend the whole weekend together. Finally, he had been doing really good. He had a job. There would be times when he would literally have a job for months and everything would be great. And he wouldn't go out with his friends and it wouldn't be fucking crazy. And then like he would just go out one night and get picked up. And it's like, the fuck, dude? Like, come on. Like, I always had hope every time. I always trusted. And he was so sweet that like he was such a sweetheart and such a cuddly dude, but also like one of those like, oh, badass bad boys. He was like exactly the epitome of what girls fall for, like little bad boys and shit. Like, oh my fucking God, what was I thinking? That's why I viscerally am disgusted at bad boys now, because I can see right through them psychologically. I'm like, I know exactly why you are the way you are, and you are not cute. I don't know. I just like stable dudes. I don't know. So I remember we were spending the weekend together. He had finally had a job, been going to school for months. He's a couple years older than me, but not a lot, like 1 or 2 grades. And I literally saw him drive by me in his mom's car, which he wasn't supposed to drive. I saw him drive by me and it wasn't in his mom's car, but I saw him. And he had always been driving his mom's car without a license, but he had been driving since he was really young. He's actually like a good driver. It wasn't sketchy that he was like 14, 15 driving a car. And he like sped past me. And then I literally saw cops behind him. And like my heart sank. I ran to the local park. It was like a lake park. And there was like a payphone. And I like had some quarters or some shit. I put him in and I called him. No answer, no answer, no answer. And then just nothing. Just nothing. And it's not like he gets to call me from juvie or jail. No one's gonna let like a 14-year-old have a fucking phone to call anyone but his mom. They're just gonna straight up call his mom or something. So I don't get to hear anything. It's like, I remember just like hanging up the phone as he didn't answer, and then it started to go to the fucking, I spent so many quarters, oh my God. Or no, I used the same quarters because it doesn't go through. I don't remember exactly, but I just remember slumping to the floor and like fucking crying my eyes out because I knew that he had gotten caught by the cops in this new car. It was a 3rd strike. I held on for a few more months. I finally got like a fucking letter from him or something. And like this is fucking traumatic, dude. Like just like hoping that he would change because nothing else was wrong. Like if he was just going to work, like he'd have dropped out of school, fucking drop out of school, who cares? If he was just going to work or school and fucking chilling and not getting in with these fucking shitty friends. And, you know, I just realized right now, talking about this, that I'm probably more sensitive to Hunter's shitty friends because I've seen what shitty friends can do to someone. Like, you are a modicum of what your friends are, at least. And when I see that Hunter has some shitty friends, I'm like, it probably triggers me more than it should or something. It's not really that big of a deal. I've been like, you know, I'll never tell him not to hang out with someone, but I do give him that knowledge of my opinion, obviously, and he can do with it what he will. But yeah, like if Jared had just not gone out and did that shit, like everything would have been fine. I saw us being together like forever, but like there were other things that he did that made me super insecure and stuff. But just the like back and forth, like, are you even gonna exist basically tomorrow? And the instability of it all, and we would break up a lot, and like I just kept going back to him and he kept saying sorry and he kept being very, very sincere. It's crazy to me how sincere someone can be, yet lie straight to your face. Like, I don't know. I always tell this story whenever I talk about Jared on my channel. I always tell the story that like years later, when I'm like successfully modeling and everything, he fucking messages me and he's like, I'm really worried about your well-being and safety doing this modeling thing. I hope you're okay. I hope, you know, someone's watching. I'm like, fuck you, dude. Literally fuck you. I'm fine. Like, are you? I don't know. And I have no idea where he is now, but like, I'm sure that fucked me up in some way, but was I too old for that to be like a core memory that has like shaped my attachment style? Because I can't think of anything else. When I was in high school after Jared, and when I had first met Jay, you know, and now I feel a little bit better about how I treated Jay in the beginning. Because I had to work really, really hard to not be the most insanely jealous, paranoid, crazy, clingy, controlling person ever. And Jay saw a lot of that in the beginning of our relationship, like how fucking crazy I was. Like, he loved me a lot to be able to put up with that shit. Like, I remember, and Jay told this story recently, which is why I remember it. He told the story to someone. I remember, like, he had some stupid after school shit to do. It really pissed me off. I wanted to hang out with him instead. And like, I told him, you gotta skip this after school thing. I think it was for like some AP class or some shit he had to do to make up for something. I don't remember what it was, but like, I was so pissed that he wouldn't skip it, even though he was like, dude, I cannot skip it this time. That he had bought me a ring, a little pink ring. It was like fake and shit. It was like $100 or something, but you know, obviously it was really cute. I like went into that room with that after school program that he was in and like literally like threw the ring at his face and left and was like, never fucking talk to me again. Like, that's the kind of level of petty and like crazy that I was, because I could not control my emotions. Now, this has never been something where I feel like I'm trying to be manipulative. I'm never like, oh, this will get his attention or anything. It's like a fucking crazy storm of just like insane emotions inside of me that I cannot control in certain situations because of my anxiety in relationships. Like, it's so crazy because I don't really have anxiety, like, otherwise at all. Like, really, I don't. Like, I'm not afraid to go up and talk in front of people. I'm not anxious about world events like people are, or COVID or any of that shit. And I'm the least maintenance friend. I'm the lowest maintenance friend you're ever going to have if you're not my partner, my person. I don't really need anyone but my partner or my person. Everyone else is just kind of adjacent. I love having Jay as a best friend because I can still like fulfill my deep talks and random rants type stuff, and we still play video games and stuff. But like, I don't need to see him or talk to him every day at all. And Kristen, my other like best friend, basically my best girlfriend, fuck, dude, we don't talk for like weeks sometimes. I'll just like respond to her story or something. Like, I don't need validation from friendships or family. I barely talk to my family too, and my family is only like my mom and dad. But I know that they're out there existing and loving me, you know, like it's just something about the knowledge of permanence or whatever, that thing that when babies realize that object permanence is a thing, you know, where like I'm not there with them right now, but they still exist. Like, that gives me anxiety with the boyfriend or with the partner. It's crazy. I don't know why. Like, what the fuck? And so if, let's say that it was Jared that sparked this in me, and it was a young enough occurrence that that's the reason why I have this trauma or whatever, why the fuck was I like that, so clingy and attached to my dad? Why the fuck was I so worried about my mom giving me a kiss or not in the morning? Like, what? Is this just normal child stuff? There's no way it's normal child stuff, because no one else had their dad coming to elementary school and like just hanging out with them. No one else had that shit. Like, everyone thought it was weird. And I didn't give a fuck. I didn't give a fuck that it was weird. Because I loved it. I loved having my dad around. He was funny. He told stories. We looked at bugs. It was great. He was my best friend. It was fucking awesome to have him around. So, and then like, what is the significance of my mom's kiss? Like, I knew she loved me. Like, what was going on? Like, why, as a child, did I exhibit these behaviors? Get possibly like a stomach ulcer over it. And then, you know, like, have it only toward love interests later. It's weird. There's not really much that I can explore else, and I just have no idea, but I've been working through it really well. Like, some forms of DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, I've been employing myself. I'm really not the kind of person that I think I would ever be good in a therapy situation with another person. I feel like if Dr. K of Healthy Gamer was my fucking therapist, then maybe. But I would go through so many fucking therapists and waste so much money, So just doing this shit myself has been really rewarding to me. And like the first thing is just knowing that it's a problem. Like I'll watch videos on attachment style or like how to get over it or like why you need to give your partner space. And those are the hardest videos to watch. I don't feel like I'm being attacked or anything like some people say, but I literally feel like it's almost like, oh, I don't need to change that. No, I don't need to do that. I'm fine. You know, like I have a mental block with this shit and you have to force yourself to change. That's why I think it's so crazy when people are like, oh, I can change him. Bitch, it's hard enough to change yourself. Almost impossible to change yourself. You are not going to ever change anyone else unless they really want to, unless they're like, oh, I 100% agree with you. Let me change that. And that's why I'm so shocked that like Hunter has made so many compromises for me. I'm like, damn, like the shit that he does for me is insane. Cause like I'm struggling to do it for myself. But yeah, just like communication has helped me a lot. These are some of the tools that I've used to help me. So dialectical behavioral therapy, which is like, it's kind of like being mindful of what you're feeling and why, and really just sitting with it. And then like you do these certain things. I don't actually do the certain things, but I think they're interesting. And I think if I really needed to, I could do these certain things. Like you name a few things off into the distance that you see to kind of ground yourself in the present so that your anxiety doesn't run amok. Never acting on a feeling or an impulse right away. Actually sitting with things instead of needing to like correct or fix them immediately. When I get in a bad mood, usually because of hormones, because I'm close to my period, I'll often have like really negative thoughts about Hunter. Just negative shit about like the few things that are still not perfect with our relationship. No relationship is perfect. Literally nitpicking. And I'll be like, these are the reasons that he doesn't love me. And remembering that like, this is a bad mood. This is not good. This is not real. It's not happening. And thinking about all the good things that he does, like really help. And just being very mindful of everything. Like that's basically DBT and like what I've been doing when I start to feel this way. Because it's weird, but like if you think about it, when you have emotions, you often don't sit with them or think about why they're happening, or you kind of just, your body and brain are just like, yeah, this is true. This is it. This is what I should be feeling. And you don't even really think that far even. You're not even like, oh, like maybe I shouldn't be feeling this, or why am I feeling this? You kind of just like, you accept it as reality. And it's really helped me to not just accept it as reality, to think about it more and stuff. Other things are just like communication. Communication is, I always say it's key. I think I said it in the last video I did about anal. I'm saying it here about an anxious attachment. It's awkward because you know that later you're not going to feel it. You know that it's an overreaction, but just like expressing it to your partner, being like, I need reassurance. I need validation. I'm feeling anxious about nothing. I'm feeling sad about nothing. It has helped a lot. Like Hunter's so good now. Like if I'm just quiet for a second, he does something cute or does something sweet, and whatever I'm feeling that's bad just like melts off, because all I need is that validation and that like love and attention. That's literally all I need. That's it. And like when he goes out with the boys and he gets too drunk and I know he won't be able to text back, like he gives me a set time that like he'll come home for sure and then sticks to it. And like that makes me feel like, okay, all I got to do is be busy until this time and I'll, you know, do some of my own shit. And I'm trying to relax. I'm really bad at relaxing. Not because I'm like anxious, but sorry, my recording stopped. So I was saying I'm really bad at relaxing, and not because I'm anxious, but because like, let me get more comfy. There we go. I like to spend every moment of the day usefully. So if I'm not hanging out with Hunter or someone else I want to form a bond with, I want to be working. But sometimes if like Hunter goes to work at 8 a.m. and then I usually get really gassed out at like 7 p.m. I can't work after that. So if he goes to work and then goes out, I'm like, fuck, I got until like 12 at night or 2 a.m. to do stuff, but I can't work. I'll try to work, but my mind will just be anxious. Like, what's he doing? What's going on? It's so funny because I'm not worried about him cheating on me at all. I just want to be there. You know, I'm like, what's going on? I want to be part of this. It's just like separation anxiety and FOMO, but just for a specific person, not a specific event. Like if there's like a concert going on, could give a fuck less that it exists. I don't feel FOMO at all. If there's a concert going on and Hunter's going, why can't I go? Come on. Wouldn't it be more fun with me? Oh my God. Like I'm missing an experience with my dude, to be able to like watch my dude's like happy, like he's laughing with people. And I just fucking love watching him from a distance and being like, oh, this man's beautiful and everything. But like, yeah. So I'm very like odd, I think, in the way that I have the attachments, but also very basic in the way that I have the anxious attachment. So yeah, just communicating, setting like set boundaries, and being a little more ridiculous about the communication than a normal person who has normal attachment, secure attachment would be, has helped me so much. It's helped me immensely. Like, I think a lot of anxious attachment people will just, they'll have their coping mechanism, which is usually either like stonewalling or running away, kind of being avoidant, which I know is weird, but like, it's like a protecting your heart because you feel like you're being let down or something. Or they'll chase really hard and be like, oh my God, give me more attention, to the point where it's just like the person actually does get sick of you and needs space. And then you've created this self-fulfilling prophecy where this person does need space from you and does need to get away from you. Honestly, post in the comments if any of the stuff that I've said resonates with you, or if you feel like you're more avoidant where you just don't want to get close emotionally to people. I want to get so close emotionally to people and physically to people, well, my person, that like I want to be in their skin, you know, like I'm so clingy, you know. But then also, I've said this before when I talked about my attachment style, but it's funny that Hunter joked that like I'm the most independent girl he's ever dated and the most clingy girl that he's ever dated. Because it's like two sides of the same person. So why, I wonder if everyone who's anxiously attached is usually only anxiously attached like partner wise, or if it's also with friends and family, because for me it's not at all. And my worry when he's not with me is never like, is he gonna cheat? Sometimes my worry when he's not with me is he gonna die? That's a thing. Like, I sometimes catastrophize in my head, like, what if he just gets in a car accident and this morning was the last time I ever fucking talked to him, and like I was planning this weekend with him and I'll never get to do that, and we'll never get to do this and that, and I have so many things we want to do together, and my brain will literally go into anxiety mode over like something I could not control and should not control, because Jesus, I would just keep him in a box then or something. I'm really proud of myself though for how far I've come with dealing with it and realizing that I do that shit and like getting my needs met, but also trying to move the goalpost of how far out I need my needs, because like I know that it can be annoying, and Hunter was someone before me that needed a lot of space. Thankfully, I'm not annoying, so he doesn't need a lot of space. But I worry sometimes because my body will physically not let me be like, I'm going out without you just to give you space, but I want to. So I want him to be like, give me space, but not because I want him to be like, yo, give me like a couple hours on Sunday and you go do something. Not because I need space, but because I think it will help the relationship and be good for the relationship, and I'm going to miss you like crazy. Like, that's what I want. I want him to be like, oh, I got to go do this thing without you, but oh, I'm going to die without you. Like, it's going to suck. Like, I want that reciprocation, but I want the secure attachment style that he has, or the avoid whatever he has, to actually put it into motion. Because otherwise, I'll just cling to his leg forever. I don't know. So yeah, let me know if any of this was useful. If you have any insights or any information. I don't know how solid attachment theory is. I've seen a lot of girls lately, like stupid feminist bitches on TikTok, say that there's no merit in it because girls are usually more anxiously attached and guys are avoidant, so it makes us look like we're clingy, annoying bitches, and guys are this. Oh, fucking kill yourself. I mean, fucking have a wonderful day, because I don't want to get banned on YouTube. But yeah, like that kind of shit is so fucking stupid. Yeah, like girls will appear more anxiously attached. Girls will appear more a lot of things because of their mannerisms and the hormones and blah, blah, blah. But like, who fucking cares? I know a lot of guys that are anxiously attached. I know a lot of guys that are stably attached or securely attached. There are definitely women like my best friend Kristen who is avoidantly attached. So it's not like gendered in that way. Don't be stupid. Let me know what you think. And let me know if you like this, because it's a lot longer. I'm not going to cut it up at all. And it's been a while since I've done a video this long where I'm just like fucking talking and rambling. And let me know what you think of the view, because it's like, maybe it's relaxing to you guys. Maybe it's like you're my therapist or I'm your therapist and we're just like talking about random shit and like commiserating and shooting the shit. You know, I like that. It's cozy. It's interesting. Yeah, I don't really have anything else that I can say, and I'm glad that I, just talked with you guys and actually had like a stream of consciousness conversation again with you guys, because it's been a while. I think it's been a while since I've been one of these, or since I've done one of these like really stream of consciousness, you can just play it in the background type videos. All right, guys, have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Shit, I just dropped the mic off the table. off the thing. Hello, Mike. Are you good? Mike? My Mike's name is Mike. He kind of looks like he's supposed to be there because he's fuzzy and gray, and everything on this couch is fuzzy and gray.